Death Chat is a space for honest conversations about death, grief, legacy, and end of life planning so that we can live more intentionally while we're here. Hello, everybody. I'm Julia, and I'm the host of Death Chat. And today I'm here with Beth.
Hi.
Beth, thank you so much for joining us today. You want to start just telling us a little bit about you and what you do?
Sure. My name is Doula Beth, and I'm a death doula.
There it is.
Yeah. Sure.
So, for anybody who doesn't know what a death doula is, what would your explanation be?
So a death doula is a non-medical professional who aids in medical transitions. So we always think about a birthing doula when we hear the word doula,
Right.
but doula in itself is a non-medical professional who aids in medical transitions, such as birth, stillbirth, and death.
There you go. And how long have you been death doula, Beth?
Officially trademarked.
Officially.
I professionally got into it in 2022.
Okay.
And I started leading into it because I didn't feel like I was like I didn't experience enough death. Like I wasn't worthy to step into this role because I was like, it's a big thing, right?
Interesting.
But my mentor was like, get into it now. Like I'm
Dive
the
in.
perfect person. And I was like, okay. And it's just been everything I wanted it to be. And I always say I finally found out what I wanted to be when I grew up.
That's amazing. Congratulations. Some people search their whole lives.
Yeah, I feel very
So you've been doing it professionally for 3 years now.
Mhm.
Yeah. So let's go back and, tell us a little bit about who you are and what kind of led you into this line of work that is pretty unique.
Where do I
That's a
start?
little unique.
It's a little different, right?
Little different.
But we are on a death chat.
And we are in the death space and both professionals in it. So
Yeah. Well, I was a Jill of all trades. I just said yes to all these different jobs. At 18, I went to college and I wanted to be an early ed teacher. I want to be a kindergarten teacher.
interesting.
And I switched my major because I was like, no, I want to be a psychologist. Like I want to be a counselor or a therapist, or I failed gens like twice. And I was like, this is not for me.
Okay, never mind.
Yeah. And so I dropped out of college and did a whole lot of different jobs, got a whole lot of experience in the work world. And when I was pregnant with my second child, we decided that we would save our money by me staying home. So I was out of the workforce for a while. And then during that time period, we ended up getting a divorce, and I was like, oh no, what do I do? So then I stuck my toe in like self-employment, and I opened up my own cleaning business, and I was like, I like being my own boss, but I also don't like being my own boss.
Right.
And that led me down the path of like entrepreneurship. And, I went back into the corporate world, but then I was like, no, I really just want to do something that's heartfelt and that means something. And in 2015, I sat beside someone who was actively dying. And that was the first time, like I had lost people beforehand, but in 2015, I sat face to face with this gentleman who I grew to love. And
What was the relationship?
he was my father-in-law
Okay.
because I had gotten married a second time.
Gotcha.
And it was my first time seeing death right in front of my face, the mortality, like everything. And what I know now is terminal agitation was very traumatizing to me. So after he had died, and it was the in-between before you guys came to pick him up and, the next leg of his journey, I was stuck in two worlds, and I saw the adult kids crying and shell-shocked and like what just happened, because it was very traumatic. I mean, the way that it's just, it was bad. And then his now widow sitting by his side, like helping him get cleaned up. And I just vowed to myself that I would never let that happen ever again, where I didn't know what was happening, that I didn't know who to talk to. So I wanted to make sure that I could, yeah, be of service or be helpful or be comforting or something. Like I just needed to do something. And I just learned everything that I possibly could about death, dying, and grief. And for me, it was a hobby. It was like a little morbid hobby that I
Yeah.
just like talked to everyone about.
I'm gonna just read about it.
Yeah. I was a life insurance and health insurance and,
Okay.
you know, the PNC, like the car and the
Mhm.
house and stuff. But I really like the planning part of like, what would you do if your family was left behind and, you could save up this money and have this policy? I really love those conversations. So it really went hand in hand with like me just like searching for like the dying process and what happens like after someone dies and, the laws around it, like how long someone can be in the home and like how can we grieve differently and can we, what's the funeral like? Cause it's like, it just felt so stuffy. And like we can personalize all these things. So
Mhm.
I went down this rabbit hole by myself and then discovered what a death doula was and was like, oh, like I need to do that.
Yes, that speaks to me.
Yeah. And so, I even went down the route of like, I want to be a funeral director or work in like a funeral home or something, or
Mhm.
like a hospice nurse maybe. And I was like, I'm gonna go to school. That's a lot.
It is.
And, I'm not a medical person. Like I don't,
Mhm.
there's certain things that I'm like, that's pushing against my threshold of comfort.
Right.
So
Don't need to be involving
yeah,
necessarily the science of it.
the science of it, the
Yeah.
medicalness of it,
The people aspect is what you got.
that's, to
Yeah.
be just a help. And when I heard of
Mm.
birthing doulas, I was like, oh, like that's beautiful. Someone that's non-medical, but can be there to support while I'm having this baby. Absolutely.
Mhm.
And it never struck me that that could happen on the other side of life too. And
Right.
that we should be talking about this. And so then started Death Doula Beth.
Love it. I feel like a lot of families don't necessarily even know it exists rather than think that they need it. So can you walk me through like the death doula process?
A death doula's role in end of life transitions can vary, and we're usually called too late. And so, what I always like to say, that you're like, when should I hire a death doula? This sounds like something needed. And I said, as soon as possible. Actually, as soon as you know that you're going to die someday, which is all of it,
Right.
right? Our culture in the United States is so death averse
Yeah.
that we don't even want to touch it, that it's painful, that it's unknown and it's
Mhm.
scary. And yes, I understand that. But what I know to be true is that when I sit with clients, when I sit and serve with the people that I sit across from, and we do the pre-planning and I help them get ready to come to places like funeral homes to say, this is what I desire for my last party.
Final event.
Yeah. Yeah. So if I get the opportunity to sit with someone before they get the diagnosis or the big H word or the big D word or we'll do pre-planning. Like
Mhm.
I have a client right now that, she has stage 4 and she's still doing the chemo, but for some reason, it just feels nice to have someone there to sort of talk through what could happen in the future
Mhm.
and to walk through finding out which hospices are a best fit. And because you
So
can,
many options.
oh my gosh, there's so many and nobody knows. You
Nobody
don't
knows.
know what you don't know because
Or experienced. We don't experience hospice twice.
exactly. Exactly. But we have agency to do that.
Right.
In Central PA, we have 28 different hospices.
Wow.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
So you can choose
Mhm.
from a plethora of different hospices.
Too many options. Honestly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Down that rabbit hole. But again, bring it back. Like I help educate so that when we do reach that point, I visibly see people, their shoulders relax, and they're like, it is still scary to talk about death and dying, but it's not so scary anymore. Like I feel
Amazing.
better that you're here.
Mhm.
And so, when you think of death doula, you think of bedside. when the person is dying, and I'm there to help the person die better. And really, I'm there to support the family. Like, this is normal. They're at peace. They have, just a peaceful, and I can offer suggestions or remind them what the hospice nurses have said and stuff like that. And, make it more of a natural experience rather than, can we curse here? Okay. What the fuck is going on with mom?
Right.
Because it can be really jarring to see our people do the natural death thing.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, allowing them the time and the space, because in Pennsylvania, we have 48 hours before they need to go to their next leg of their journey, so long as they cut goal and, like, we got to make a plan, but like, you have this time. So let's make the most of it. We don't have to make the call right away. Just let it sit and let it just settle. We only get death once.
Right.
And so, I am invited in. I'm not paid for this service. I will help guide, like, brushing the hair, putting on the clothes that they want to go to their next leg of their journey.
Yeah.
Because I have some, like, women, right? They're like, well, I want to go to the funeral home in this outfit, but then I want to be buried in this one. And I'm like, we can make this happen.
Slippers. I need the slippers on.
Yes, and no bras.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, we advocate for things like that to make it more personal for the person and their family and make them, like, dignified. And it's not taking over anyone's job. So any funeral industry people, we're not taking over anyone's job. It's just making it more meaningful for the family so they can start the healing process. Because when we don't feel supported, that's when the trauma happens, because it's indigestion of the brain and it's too much to handle. And what am I supposed to do with all this? And this is all scary. And most people have never seen a dead body before.
Right.
Like, unaltered, embalmed, undone up. And so it can be very jarring to see your loved one like that. So did that answer your question?
Yes, it did. And it is, it's helpful to the funeral professionals and it's helpful to the family. It's that bridge that really, and I think, like, the connection, it is helping you through this universal experience, but that detachment of the emotion of a child. Like, the children and their spouses and their grandkids, they have a life that they need to continue living. And once a death occurs, there's oftentimes a lot of confusion, potential conflict. And if there's someone who can be the bridge, a death doula is great to have. And I genuinely feel like most people need it, even if they don't know. Now, you started your own business, yes?
Yeah.
And so what is, like, the cost structure, just if anyone's interesting? Like, do you charge like per hour or by client, or how do you kind of?
So that was a bumpy road to figure out.
Yeah,
But
I can assume.
so I personally charge by packages. And if it's a vigil, like end of life, like we're sitting vigil, I usually charge by the week, and,
Right.
so that it makes more sense.
Yeah.
For pre-planning, I usually package that into a 4-week program because we cover a lot.
Right.
A whole life into, like, 4 weeks is a lot. So,
What do you do about the obituaries?
well, that's part of the, if I'm sitting vigil with them, or if we do the package,
Yeah.
it's all included. We do whatever
You just write it for them, kind of get the information. And
there was this gentleman, oh my gosh, he just died like last month. And he looked like Willie Nelson. And he was just so, like, I loved him the moment I laid eyes on him. And he's like, he was just like Willie.
He's Willie.
Basically, essentially. And so he declined very fast. And so by the time I was able to, like, help them with the obituary, he was already non-responsive. He was sleeping a lot. And so I got my voice recorder out and I put it on the table. I was like, so tell me about this guy. And told all the stories and inside jokes. And, we're able to make it more personalized.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, rest in peace, Willie Nelson. So within your experience level, do you find yourself training and guiding a lot of people who are interested in becoming death doulas? And what do you think it is about the profession that really drives people to want to provide this level of support in such a sensitive time?
Good questions. So yes, um, I I have gotten a lot of questions of how do I become a death doula and what's my story. And you'll find that you're attracted to and desire to be close to someone that you want to mentor. You're just attracted. I don't know, like energy, you just
Mm-hmm.
like want to be there. So what I was what I was experiencing was a lot of people asking me how to become a death doula versus I'm going to hire you with a death doula.
Right. That's what I see the trend of.
Yeah, well, it's like
Interesting.
this emerging thing. We've been around since the 80s. Like, joined death doula since the 80s. But because people don't want to talk about death and dying, we've only recently started this movement towards death positivity because of people like Alua Arthur and Suzanne O'Brien and Imelda and all the other, death positive conversations.
Mm-hmm.
And now Mel Robbins' husband is now a well-known death doula behind the scenes pretty much. But when I saw that, I'd hired a business coach because this work is hard work. And I love being of service and I love being like, yes, I just want to help. But I was burnt the fuck out. Like, I was volunteering, I was giving my services away for free, and I was like not making any money. And it's not about the money,
Mm-hmm.
but it is about the money.
Yeah. You're putting so much out there. You got to have so much.
Exactly. And what I discovered is there's a lot of people that need help. So I'd hired a business coach and I was like, I need to start making money. And he's like, I know nothing about death doulas.
Let's go through this together.
So, but he's super cool. Like he's got a really big following on social media. He does meditations. He says the word fuck a lot. Sit the fuck down, shut up and meditate. I'm like, that's Yogi Brian. It's just, yeah. So when he told me that he was with branding and stuff like that, I hired him on. And he was like, your ideal audience not only needs to be educated about being a death doula, but you also need to teach people how to become death doulas because everything that I'm seeing that you're telling me and what he's researching is like, people need this education. I'm like, who am I to do that? And he's like, you're the perfect person to do that because people keep coming to you for that.
Right.
So I created a course this past April.
Amazing.
My dog died 2 days before the big event in Hershey, Pennsylvania. We had the event. I put out this course and then I needed to like unplug from everything. Yeah. It was a lot. Yeah.
So the course is available
The course is available
on your website.
on the websites. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. It's self-led, but I do offer the mentorship.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I have a really good balance. Like I have people that I serve one-on-one, and I only serve one family at a time.
Okay.
Wow. And because I give them a lot of time and I charge accordingly as far as the pricing goes, but and my availability. But I think it's important to be because no one can determine like when death is going to happen, how people are going to react, like how often I'm going to be needed there. So I have that. And then I also have like coaching, mentoring clients where, I walk them through how to become a death doula, the pre-planning, some good things to think about as far as like their business needs and, like how can we get you set up for success? Like how can you start how can you start attracting some of these like things that I'm doing? Because ultimately they see what I'm doing and they're like, oh, I want to do more of that.
Right.
And we need more of that. We need more people to talk about death and dying. We need more death chats. We need that's the conversation.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Death Chat. If something in today's conversation resonated with you, you are not alone. If you enjoyed this episode, Please subscribe, share, or leave a review to help more people find these conversations and help normalize talking about death before we're forced to. Consider following us on social media at DeathChat Pod on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and listen to us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts.